Good Monday, late morning, social media friends that are local here to myself and my co-host Catalin, as well as some of you. Maybe you're not so local because you are a digital nomad, you're on vacation, you're maybe taking a sabbatical from what you do day in, day out. Welcome to all of you. Let me bring in my co-host Catalin into today's conversation. Hello, Catalin.
Hi, happy Monday and happy June. I
I
cannot
know.
believe it. It's wonderful. Summer is coming. My birthday is on June 5th. Your birthday just passed. So happy belated birthday, my friend. And excited to be here with you.
So we share one thing in common besides the fact of co-hosting and sharing this live stream conversation about flipping that house or real estate in general. We're both Geminis.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
wow.
Both Geminis. And, my oldest is a Gemini. And now my youngest will be born as a Gemini. So I'm super.
There you go. Power to the Geminis.
Power to the Geminis. Yes, yes, and yes.
All right, Catalin, let's lead off today's live stream episode talking about, from your perspective, what are some current trends and a current real estate market update?
So, Bill, great question. I was just chatting with a dear friend of mine that's an absolute real estate expert. He does a lot of multi-units and investing on the northwest side of Chicago. And we're talking about the media, right? So in the news, you definitely saw that Florida and Texas are definitely feeling a big halt, right? There's plenty of supply, there's now a lot of demand. So what's happening is the prices are adjusting, and we see a little bit of a trend towards pricing going down. But that is just on a national level. If we look at the micro and at Chicago as a market, and we're talking about the Chicago metro area, there's still plenty, and there's surrounding suburbs. There is plenty of demand, and we don't have supply yet. We never built like Florida did. We never built like Texas did. We never had the expansion and explosion that these states had. So we are at a micro level. We are still in a I would say a seller's market where there's a lot of demand, and we don't have a lot of supply in the market either.
Yeah, I agree with you. Recently, I saw a visual cheat sheet, like an infographic, and I'm sure you've seen it as well, whether it be from, I think it was from realtor.com, but it probably has morphed into other visual cheat sheets. And it literally showed how the Midwest, the central Midwest. So let's pick on Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Wisconsin to a degree.
Yeah.
To a degree. Is quite affordable when it comes to real estate home prices. So for that reason, do you see a shift of people coming back to the Midwest?
So I'll give you this example. I purchased a 3-flat 2.5 years ago in the Hegewisch area of Chicago. I fixed it. I put a tenant in, and now we're flipping it. We're selling it. I listed it a couple of weeks ago. I had 3 showings on it with 3 offers, right? So I have multiple offer situation, which is a great situation to be in. But funny enough, the strongest offer is coming from an out-of-state investor. Wow. that sees the value of Chicago and the fact that we're just talking for a long time that in their market, there's not such thing as, cash flow and appreciation. You've got to choose one or the other, or even like both, the third benefit of tax benefits, right? So, things like areas like Chicago or Midwest, they still offer a big opportunity to cash flow and make money. I have a friend that's investing heavily in Indiana because of the same principle. You can still find properties at a lower price point, add value, rent them, and still cash flow. Where on the East Coast, these are just dreams, do not exist, right? So you have to be very realistic and understand truly, what you can and cannot find in your market.
Yeah. When I saw that visual, that infographic, there was a part of me where I wasn't completely surprised, but then I was surprised by how land of Lincoln, Illinois, is being perceived relative to the coastal states and even the Sun Belt states,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you're absolutely correct. Supply is still tight. It's still a seller's market. I still see good properties priced correctly by you and yours
Yes.
that go under contract quickly.
Yes, it's all about pricing correctly, right? I've seen that there's a trend right now that's pretty unappealing, I would say, to use a
Oh,
better word, where I see some sellers coming out of the market with really crazy pricing. And every time I've a perfect example. There's a townhome, in Gurnee that it's been on the market for over a month now, and that area, I gotta tell you, Bill, you put a townhome for the right price, you have multiple offers, it sells in the first 3 days. It's
wow.
no question, right? But unfortunately, they're using a realtor that's not from that area, that
Okay.
doesn't understand the market, and has not seen the comps in person, or at least did a deep dive on the comps. So they came up that at the highest price on the market, and they've been sitting for over a month. And it's just unfortunate, because if they were priced correctly, they would have done a multiple offer situation. That they would have stopped missing the opportunities. And now what's happening is, with kids going to school, and this applies to the whole market. When kids go from school on vacation, summer vacation, parents stop shopping. So what happens is, we slow down a little bit in the real estate market. So then they're opening themselves up to what? Lowball offers,
Mhm.
and just extended market time, which creates frustration, and not necessarily doing the right by the client, which is
Yeah, yeah.
unfortunate.
Or some of those parents with kids that are making a move for real estate life events, different school, next chapter. Um, Maybe they took a pass on that townhome that was priced too high, and the knife in the heart is they went and bought something else.
Yes, or they re-sign their lease agreement. I mean, there's so many. I've seen
Sure.
way too many times where people are so discouraged, and they look at the price and, like, yeah, it's way overpriced, and it's not for us, clearly. And then they make up some sort of limiting belief, saying, it's not my time, it's not my year, I'm just gonna release, I'm gonna redo. And then I can find a million reasons why not to buy today. But again, pricing a property right will eliminate those limiting beliefs for your potential buyers.
Yeah. And of course, working with the right real estate professional, the right team certainly helps, because sometimes we can always talk ourselves out of doing nothing, status quo, as opposed to hearing a collection of professional opinions that might just shape and mold what is the best thing to do going forward.
100%. And that's one thing. As realtors, we have what's called a fiduciary responsibility, and I don't know how many really take that serious, but I take it very serious. If I'm going to give some sort of advice, it's basically the same advice I would give myself, even better, right? I want to make sure that my clients interest is always first. And working with someone that trusted me, I'll always do my absolute best to help them. So
Yeah, you heard it, everyone. From Catalin, he believes in what he provides as a service, not because he's a service provider, but he's been on the other side. He's been on the other side of buying, selling, and rinse, repeat, recycle that process. So, Catalin, let's shift the conversation to now this, right? You and I probably have seen those signs along the road, those signs on TV, media, digital marketing, where people promote cash for homes. We buy homes with cash. Right? And by the way, I've seen that more so within the past almost 24 months, the past 2 years, right? Okay. So my question to you is this. My question to you as a real estate broker, let's frame it. You're representing a seller. Are those cash offers always really cash?
Great question. Great question. So I'll first start by saying, yes, you've seen a lot of more signs, and the more, we call them wholesalers or people that want to identify properties for sale, just purely because there's no supply. And people know that, hey, if I identify a product for sale, chances are I'll find a buyer fast. Okay. So when in this market, wholesalers or people that are posting those, we buy homes for cash, will multiply tenfold. Okay. Now, those 99% of times are not cash offers. Those are what's called hard money offers. And, you still have to, go through the process of appraising and go through the process of everything. But, it's a very unregulated industry. So people throw that out there, cash buy a little too loosely, if that makes sense, because they know that nobody's going to go after them.
Okay.
As far as being on the seller side, right? So I always look at the offer, right? If they sign and mark cash, deal, I need to see the money liquid in the bank account ready to transact right away, right? So don't show me a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA or a 401k, because I know those are not liquid. I need to see it in a savings account or a checking account. And I need to make sure that makes sense. Now, there's been a lot of scenarios and situations where I personally bought homes, and on the contract, real estate contract says cash, financing allowed. Okay. So what do I mean by that? It means that me as a buyer, I waive the financing contingency. So I know I'm coming in and say, listen, if the bank or the private money lender does not give me the funds, then I will pay cash no matter what.
Okay.
Right. So that is a very strong offer, but not many buyers can articulate this. Right. So we have to be very careful. I do my due diligence. I just actually had a conversation with a lender that, their agent submitted an offer on a three flat listing of mine. And the client was like, yes, it's an investment. I want to use it as an investment. I was an investment. And they submitted an offer, 5% down payment, conventional loan. I'm like, whoa, this is owner occupant loan. This is not investor loan.
Bingo.
Bingo, right? I'm like, dude, do you want me to vacate? How are you going to get it done? I'm like, how are you going to approve them? Do they, can the underwriter make sense that they're moving there? Do they own? Do they rent? And, I caught them lying. They said, oh, the person is renting. I said, okay. And then I called the tenant. I said, the agent, and I say, hey, agent, do they own or do they rent? And they're like, oh, they own. I'm like, okay, well, there's a lot of yellow and red flags.
That's right.
You're already on the bottom of the multiple offer situation, right? So telling everybody, the team that you work with, and having your story straight is beyond crucial and important. So yes, if you go in cash, make sure it's cash. If it's not cash, make sure you have the right story to articulate what's going to happen.
That is so, I love that story. And by the way, what Catalin just dropped, everyone, for all of you watching and listening to this, whether you are a seller or a buyer, I think I can say this, Catalin. It's so important that you as the client And again, that's you. You need to be straight up with us, right? You need to be straight up with us, because when we go to represent you, we need to know correctly, accurately, what is your story? What are you trying to accomplish? And it's just not Catalin, but it's myself, your team of service providers. We need to know accurately, clearly your story. We need to be able to articulate your story when there are multiple offers and or when there's just flat out questions,
Yeah.
right? Nothing is worse, correct,
Yeah.
Catalin, when the wrong expectations are set. And I think your story kind of pinpointed that.
Yes, yes, yes. It's disappointing because I know the client really wants the property. Now, the way the client has been represented by his team is not the best way possible. So it's just that's so important. Like how you're represented. It's crucial, crucial,
Yeah,
crucial.
yeah. So I take it you're not a big fan of buyers. Again, frame the story. You represent a seller. You're not big fans of buyers who write an offer one way, cash purchase, and all of a sudden they do a small mic drop with, "Oh, Catalin, we're sourcing financing."
No, no, no. I believe. Listen, we all. I think there's ways where maybe you go from 25 to 20% down payment, and we have something happen, or you go
Sure.
from a 5 to 15, or small things like that I understand. Okay, hey, listen, things happen.
Yeah.
But to go from cash to lending without the proper disclosure and being transparent, that I can only question of what else are you hiding,
I know.
right? So I'm listen, I'm not saying that I'm a saint or anything else, but please, transparency in, especially in business, it's crucial, right? So your branding, your trust, your what you come to the table is important. And I always believe in having, as long as the other person that that you're negotiating with has the knowledge, has the willingness to get a deal done, and has the capacity to have a intelligent conversation around numbers, financing, and everything else, you can overcome and mitigate anything. Like I truly believe that at times lending is better than cash because you can get more money, you can do a lot of different things. Cash offers are usually lower
No, yeah.
than lending. So listen, people that come in and say cash is king. Yes, it is. But guess what? 99% of the deals that I'm doing are closing with loan. So I have no problem with lending as long as I'm working with a lender that knows how to get the deal done. It's
Yeah.
very, very simple. Very
Yeah,
simple.
yeah. Can I share with you, and then we'll pivot to our third and last conversation point. Can I share with you a very simple, open-ended question that one of your peers asked me in a transaction? The transaction, of course, started because they were looking at a mutual buyer client's offer. And one of your peers, when we jumped onto a live phone call, simply asked this question of me. It wasn't about my approval, my loan commitment for the buyer. It wasn't about the obvious, but the question, so simple, was, Bill, tell me about your client.
Yes.
It was, and it kind of froze me for about 10 seconds. And I'm like, oh, that's such an open ended question. And guess what? For the benefit of the buyer client, I had to lean in. I leaned in very quickly and literally told a very complete and accurate story. Don't get me wrong, without violating the client's privacy, but I framed it in the way of really answering that question, your peer, so that she felt like, you know what, Bill, I get the impression you know your client so well beyond just financing that client. And that's how we went forward to execute and go under a contract.
100%. And that's crucial, because now I know if you and the lender can tell me about your client that actually you did your due diligence, you actually got to know them, understood their needs, and you're going to get to the closing end. They're not just a number,
Right.
somebody that applied. I had people submit pre-approvals with the lender's phone number that goes to a what do you call it, like what the 1-800 numbers, right?
Oh, call center. Yes, yes.
Talk to this person, like, no, they're, well, can't help you. I'm like, well, who are you? Like, oh, the client applied online, so we all help them. I'm like, oh my God, this is a whole mess to be happening. So
yeah,
I've had that situation.
Yeah. All right. Let's now shift the conversation, and we'll wrap up today's episode with this. You and I, Catalin, have heard these two letters, seen it often enough, like everybody else, which is AI this, AI that, artificial intelligence or machine intelligence. Yes, we've seen it, read it, heard it. How are you using AI in your business right now?
Great question. And I am a big fan of AI, right? There's I feel like there's two camps or three camps: the ones that are super scared, the ones that don't care, and the ones that love it. I love it. Okay. I absolutely love it. And I can tell you this: AI is only as good as you make of it.
Right.
Just like your body, just like anything you do in life. Okay. We have so many tools. The way I look at AI is another tool in my toolbox of what I call, life, business, entrepreneurship, and everything else. And the AI became a great tool. The way I compare it is, I told my friends this the other day. Before GPS, I actually had to, think twice and spend a lot of time. And okay, which way do I turn, left, right? And it would take a lot of my brain matter, and I had to focus on a lot of things. Then GPS came. Whoa! Now I can listen. I listen. I'm driving and listening to my audiobook and podcasts, and it's just my mind is growing and expanding, because I no longer have to stress, oh my gosh, I have to remember, turn right on TUI, turn right on TUI. No, it's in my eyes. I will turn right on TUI, right? It's unbelievable. Same thing with AI. The AI is eliminating all these, for example, the best usage. One, I have a personal assistant who's in Philippines, and I absolutely love her. There's the big difference in, I would say, American English, Filipino English,
Yeah.
and she can use Chat GPT or AI to basically take her email response and create it and make it more American and more sounding better, with the owner. Secondly, oh my gosh, I used to spend so much time running cap rates, ROIs, calculate my cash on cash return, calculating my numbers. Now I have a bot on Chat GPT that I go in, I don't even have to type. I talk to it and I say, listen, this is the property, these are the numbers, blah, blah, blah. What don't I see? What other questions should I ask myself? And it became the best tool ever. Okay. Same thing. I mean, I use Chat GPT even like on my personal side, right? I read, for example, I for the past couple of years, I returned to my spirituality. I'm reading the Bible. I have a little conversation with it about the Bible. Hey, tell me about this. What am I not understanding? What can I see? I use it both business, personally. I even like if I wanna, I got a coupon. I was in Chrysler's pet store. I was buying a pet food, and I just asked it. I'm like, are there any coupons available for this store? And they said, yes, this is it. And I saved $10. I mean, 30 seconds of my life. It is the best tool that it can be used. And I think in the future, the more it evolves, the more it will give us the opportunity to do what? Go back, earn our time, so we can focus on spirituality, consciousness, and grow our mind instead of just doing busy, same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So that's my AI story.
Spot on. Love your story. I love how you tied it to before GPS, we had to print out maps and then look at the maps, and we had to. I don't
Yeah.
know if you or me. You either printed out the map, you kind of knew what you need to do, or if you're going to a new area, you had to print out the map plus the
Yes.
instructions.
MapQuest. Yes. Yes. I was printing it. Yes. Oh my
So
gosh.
right. So here came Garmin GPS.
Yes.
And then now, guess what? You and I both know this. Garmin is kind of in the rearview mirror. Now, our GPS, right, is so much smarter. We have, in some cases, certain cars, we have the head-up display so that dynamically they are adjusting the map and then literally, visually alerting you or telling you, turn now.
Yeah. And not only that, one thing that I forgot to point out is it will tell you in real-time traffic if there's an accident.
Sure.
They'll find ways right away. Oh my gosh, how much would that save you in real life? That's what AI is going to do. Is going to help you avoid the bad decisions if you use it right, wisely. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah. And the whole outcome is it allows you to do more with less, accomplish more for yourself, or let's put this into the context of real estate. It allows you to do more with less time, but really it's to do more for your client.
Amen. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How I've used AI is, Excel spreadsheets, right?
Yes.
Okay. You would think, the whole power behind a spreadsheet is you could have it run calculations so that you don't have to sit there and manually do it like 20 some years ago.
Yes.
What I've come to realize now is you can use AI as the lead in to the power of Excel worksheets. Isn't that beautiful?
Amazing. I love uploading. I mean, I use it as my attorney. I use it as my Excel spreadsheet. Professional. I mean, I use it as everything that I can use it. And I still I believe that I still take little classes. I watch a couple of things on how to use it the best of my knowledge, and I still have not even scratched the surface.
Yeah, I hear you. So, ladies and gentlemen, social friends, for those of you who are looking at making your move with a real estate life event, how can you start a conversation with Catalin and myself? Real easy. All you need to do is scan the QR codes that you see here. Catalin and I will gladly start a consultation, a private conversation with you. One, because yes, we know how to use AI, but we do believe in the power of live personal connection. And we use AI only when it benefits you and when it benefits us. So with all of that said, let me ask my AI music posse to play us out. Here we go. Catalin, see you in the next episode.
See ya.